Hey guys, J-Games here again. This can be what if Daniel became the strongest Hanma. This one, Daniel have the same canonical mother, but she died giving birth to him because, well, he's born a Hanma and he's buff as all hell. His father would be Yujiro Hanma, and he's born with the brothers Baki and Jack Hanma. Baki is roughly 6 years older than him, and I believe Baki is born in 1990, and Daniel's born in 1996. 1996, so 4 years, and then Lookism takes place in 2014. Let me check this right. Yeah, so Baki's born 1990, Daniel's born 1996, and Lookism takes place in 2014, so Daniel would be 18 years old during the time of Lookism. So yeah, also this will include spoilers for Lookism that takes place in the manga on Webtoon, but also off Webtoon. So yeah, that's kind of just it. Now, Yujiro would basically take Daniel, even after like hours of him being born, and bring him to Japan, where Daniel was raised. Now, Daniel would basically end up meeting a number of people. These numbers consist of roughly around, I'm going to say, it would consist of basically the martial arts he would learn. First he undergoes training from like Baki, Jack, Yujiro, basically any martial artist in the series that's still alive and on good terms with Baki or Jack or Yujiro would train with Daniel. Like Dopo, he trained Daniel a little bit, but still want to fight him because he's interested in Daniel's power. But basically, Daniel would end up learning the martial arts of he would learn sambo, boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, wrestling, sumo, Korean wrestling, kung fu, karate. He learned Soryu and Kyokushin karate, jiu-jitsu, pit fighting, judo, aikido, iaido, kendo, and taekwondo. And it's all those from various people, but yeah, I guess you know sambo. That's like Russian martial arts, like Russian military martial arts. So, So, yeah, Daniel knows all his martial arts, and he learned all of them by the age of roughly around 15. Daniel can spend his time in Japan mainly as a delinquent. He traveled around the world. As he went to Thailand to fight Breakdak, and he also learned how to use Muay Thai and kickboxing there. Breakdak taught him Muay Thai personally, but then he fought Breakdak and won. So, anytime that he may fought Breakdak, I don't think he'd win. Breakdak was like even notable by gun to be a good fighter. At this point, Daniel may be roughly Gun's level at 15. Daniel has a lot of these martial arts just because he learned them personally. Like when it comes to training, Yujiro forbids him from copying anything. Like he has to learn it normally. If he tries to copy anything, Yujiro beats the brakes off him. So yeah, so he's kind of forbidden from using his copying ability unless he already knows the martial art decently. So yeah. But Kenneth basically beat up delinquents in Thailand, Japan. He occasionally went to Korea. He does fluently speak Korean, English, Japanese, Taiwanese. Let me explain out. Okay, Thai. I messed that up. So Thai, Japanese, Korean, English, Spanish. You can name a language. He probably just picked it up from going to that country to train. So yeah, he also speaks Russian. But yeah, eventually, by the time he's 16, he eventually would actually decide to move to Korea. But Yujiro is the only one that knows because he's kind of sick of Baki and everyone else challenging him. Like, he can just be at the arcade playing games, and suddenly he's just punched right in the face by someone random. He'll accept, seeing Dopo, and then fights Dopo and runs away halfway through the fight because he doesn't want to fight. Daniel's strong, but not really too keen on fighting. It's not his thing. Also, he's fought a few like characters from Viral Hit, like Xiang Jun, Lee Jin Ho, or 244 if you're not that far in. And then he's also fought the second affiliate before they went to Korea. Like Ryuhei, Kenta, what was the buff guy's name? I forgot his name. Just something. Hold up, make sure they got it right. I forget his real name, but I'm just gonna call him Hyoko. Because I don't like browsing through like 14 episodes to find his name. So yeah. So Hyoko, Kenta, and No Man were basically the ones he fought. And when it came to Kenta, well, he learned Kyokushin from Doppo Orochi. And Doppo has broken his hand just training, just because he not felt like breaking it, because he felt like training that hard to break his hand, and then just kept training with a broken hand. And he actually wanted to lose his hand, because he'd be more powerful. But Daniel basically just taught to, well, for one, he's a lot more durable than regular people, so he didn't break his hand, but his hands were bleeding excessively. We basically just taught to withstand anything. As Doppo grab a pipe and began beating Daniel while he trained with it, or took a stance and Doppo began beating the shit out of him. So Daniel got the shit beat out of him regularly, just to enhance his durability. So when it came to him versus Kenta did realize that Daniel was superior to him in Kyokushin karate, then even used Soryu karate. But Daniel did say that when it came to Soryu, he's very versatile. Then when it came to Kyokushin, he's stronger than steel. Kenta lacks both of those. Kenta is versatile and he's not durable. Then when it came to Hyoko used judo, only for Daniel to just use jiu-jitsu and then break his arm. Like, yeah, Hyoko is strong, but Daniel's stronger, but also faster and smaller, so he can move around a bit more. So Hyoko just lost pretty easily. And then it came to him versus Ryuhei. Ryuhei isn't that fast at all. Well, Ryuhei is fast, but not as fast as Daniel is. And actually, Daniel kind of thought of Ryuhei being really slow, so he beat up Ryuhei. But yeah, that's kind of just a bit of what he did his second affiliate. Mitsuki even wanted him to go with her to Korea in place of Nomen. We got annoyed at her that she betrayed Nomen so easily that it was obvious he likes her and loves her. But he just called her an evil cat bitch and walked away. So, He says that if he runs into her again and Nomen isn't by her side, or Ryuhei isn't by her side, because he does respect Ryuhei for even vowing to defeat him in the name of Neko, or Mitsuki, that's her name. He actually just tells Mitsuki that if Nomen isn't by her side the next time he sees her, which he doesn't know it'll be soon, he'll just kind of turn scared. Says that if Nomen isn't by her side the next time he sees her, he'll kill her. And he walks away. Then a year later, he leaves to Korea because he's sick of everyone in Japan. So, yeah. So he goes to Japan, kind of just trains for a few years. Well, not for years, for a few months, and then gets a job. And in Japan, just kind of in Korea, just began learning a few martial arts. Got a gym membership. Well, kind of got a rundown gym membership. This gym wasn't really too popular, and no one even knew it was a gym, and I thought it was a rundown building. In the gym, he had learned boxing. So, yeah. Well, not learned. He already knew boxing. He trained with Muhammad Ali Jr. mainly, despite Baki telling Daniel that Muhammad Ali Jr. is a bitch. So, yeah. Daniel started learning boxing when he was roughly about 15. Not 15. Around 13, 14. At this point, Baki would be 19, 20. So, Muhammad Ali Jr. is a bit older than Baki, I believe. But Baki just tells Daniel that Muhammad Ali Jr. is a bitch and don't train with him. Pause real quick. With Muhammad Ali being a heavyweight, I'd assume that he may have just been a slugger. So, Daniel kind of learned how to be a slugger from Muhammad Ali Jr. Then from the gym he went to, if you guys have read Viral Hit and know about Wang Guk and how he was on the Training Wii boxing team, Daniel actually goes to the same gym that Wang Guk went to later in the story to train for 82 days. In this gym, he had trained with Wang Guk's coach, and Wang Guk's coach taught him to be an in-fighter and an out-fighter. Although it's just him to be a puncher, and he learned that pretty easily, actually. So he's already a slugger. He learned pretty easily to be an in-fighter and an out-fighter, and became a puncher over time. So yeah, every kind of boxer that you need to be. But eventually, he enrolls in J-High, and when he enrolls in J-High, well, Daniel's body is honestly just his clothing. Basically, just him. He kind of wears what you see here regularly. Just his hair kind of slumped over one eye. Not slumped, but combed over one eye. It's a bit messy too, but it's just messy from him training so much. But then he wears like a white t-shirt, black sweatpants, black and white high tops. But his body's just covered in scars from the neck down. So he's aware of PP training and may start it here in Japan. So not Japan, in Korea. So yeah. But Daniel said next to Zack, and Zack could tell that Daniel was a fighter. And just from Daniel's presence, Daniel's presence emitted something that told Zack, don't fight him. It kind of shocked Zack that Daniel's just aura scared him this much. So, with Daniel being this strong, he actually did kind of intimidate Zack. But eventually, Daniel and Zack began getting along. As Dan actually does show off to be a boxer, he's on the roof of shadow boxing. But Zack did question what kind of boxing Daniel was doing. Because Daniel's boxing combined just all four forms into one style. But also, he kind of used the footwork and foundation of Muay Thai, kickboxing, and regular boxing. Combined all those footworks into one. which allowed him to actually move faster, but also a bit different from other boxers. But he made sure that when he hit, if he was in an actual match, it would have been legal hits. Zach actually does Daniel kind of boxing says, and then Daniel says, "Oh, it's regular boxing. He's combining footwork with Muay Thai and kickboxing, but also the stances of just all other forms." It showed off Zach the ability to be an outboxer, in-boxer, a puncher, and a slugger. And Daniel's body also is a bit bigger than Cannon. Like, he's close in height to Jerry Kwan, and Jerry's like 6'6". Daniel's roughly around 6'5". So yeah, he's just big. So yeah, so like with his diet that he got from everyone else, but also his training, and also like his original height should have been roughly around 6'4" because of just Yujiro's DNA. But Daniel's workout routine and diet made him a bit taller than he should have been. But also, Jack also did actually recommend Daniel get surgery, but he didn't. But instead, well, he kind of just got supplements that made him grow a bit bigger. Also because he wanted to bitch out Jack, and he's beaten Jack up before, so yeah, it wasn't really too hard actually for him. But one of Daniel's most notable scars is on his neck, where Jack bit a chunk out of his neck. Not bit like a chunk, but bit his neck, and it kind of scraped off a lot of skin. Because he was able to avoid it, but still a lot of skin scraped off, and in response, Daniel basically punched Jack punched Jack in the throat so hard that Jack couldn't speak for months on end. So, yeah. Like, breathing was making Jack cough up blood after that punch. So, yeah. Well, it wasn't really a win, but he was like kind of sucker punched Jack in the throat, and Jack never fought him since. So he has one bite mark on his neck, or one scrape mark on his neck from Jack. Then just one on his back from Jack biting him. Then, well, another notable another notable I guess, scar is basically Baki hit him so hard that his fist imprint is now like kind of dented on Daniel's skin. Like Daniel was dented by Baki. It was more like a liver punch, and Baki hit him there, and actually took out Daniel for weeks on end. But still, that like fist imprint is still ingrained on Daniel's body, and then he has a whole foot imprint, kind of just right on his inner thigh, because Baki kicked him there. It was supposed to be a nut kick, but Daniel moved and just hit him in the thigh. But yeah, from Yujiro, a lot of the other like smaller scars are from Yujiro punching at him and missing intentionally, just to make him realize how fast he should be. Yep. Also, Daniel at this point was roughly on the same level as Tom Lee, and I don't think Tom Lee can actually beat Gun Gu. Now that I look at it, like he did manhandle Ultra Instinct Daniel, but Daniel was like just now getting accustomed to Ultra Instinct. Ultra Instinct Daniel fought Gun, and Gun did a bit worse than Tom Lee, but that body was also a bit stronger. So I'm just gonna say that Daniel might have actually been. He's not on Gun or Tom Lee's level at all yet, but still he's decently powerful. But so Daniel kind of just I'm gonna phrase it. I don't know how. Daniel basically he couldn't beat Gun or Gu at this point, but he'd be able to, I guess, push them to the absolute limit. And Daniel actually, the only reason he wouldn't beat Gun or Gu is the fact that he hasn't mastered any of the martial arts he's mastered boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, and karate. Those are four very powerful martial arts if mastered. But Daniel, he has other martial arts, but he only knows like the basic foundation of them. The fact that Yujiro doesn't let him copy anything. But when it comes to copying, Daniel's kind of a rookie to it. The other ones he's copied, but he's been using them for so long that he didn't even know he copied them. So he doesn't have the same awakening to copying things that he's had in canon, and isn't really too aware of it. So Gun will have the edge on him, but still, like this Daniel could be Ultra Instinct Daniel still, like canonical Ultra Instinct Daniel. So yeah, I just want to say that right now. The one that broke Gun's arm, this Daniel could beat the shit out of him. So yeah. But still, Daniel taught Zach to be a boxer, and even showed Zach the basics of being like all kinds of boxers. But then Daniel actually brought Zach to the gym that he goes to, and Zach it kind of paid the fee for him and Daniel, realizing it wasn't that expensive. So yeah. But Daniel also doesn't have two bodies, the fact that he'd be too broken. But with the help of someone he met by the name of Gaia, pretty sure his name is really his name already, but it's the guy who covers himself in sand as like a disguise. Guy kind of taught Daniel to be like a master spy or just a master of disguise. So Daniel would be really good with that stuff. And honestly, it's just a habit he picked up because of Gaia or Gaia. I don't know his name, or at least the pronunciation of it. So yeah. But Daniel basically just go about teaching Zach how to box like he does, and teaching Zach kickboxing and Muay Thai. And actually, when it came to this, Dan actually kind of forced Zach to quit smoking, drinking, anything that was unhealthy for the muscles and the organs. It was kind of hard for Zach to quit, but anytime he got the thought of it, he got punched in the face by someone. Like, he even told Dooley, like, if I could go for a cigarette, hit me in the face. So, yep, Dooley, like, why would I do that? That's when Zach's like, well, if you do this, I'll be so strong that I could beat Vasco or Vin Jin, and you'd be part of the strongest crew in school. And that's what got Dooley on Zach's side. Dooley doesn't care about the beatings. If he hits Zach and Zach stops smoking and drinking, he'd be part of the strongest crew in school. So he was okay with this. So now with this, we can move on to roughly around the whole bar arc. Daniel still befriended Jiho, and well, one reason is that Jiho was kind of just hanging out at the store, so he wasn't forced to do anything because of like Dooley or anything. He was just hanging out there because he has no friends. But yeah, so Daniel kind of trained Zach with Muay Thai, kickboxing, and boxing, all forms of it, and Zach became immeasurably powerful with this. Like, he's strong. So yeah, so around the bar arc, Zach actually was actually doing really well. He quit smoking officially. Dooley did get hit a few times because of hitting Zach, but still, Zach did apologize afterwards and bought Dooley a few things. And even Mira's part of like how calm Zach was becoming. Even his brutal nature was even like expelled from his body because of Daniel. So yeah, but they do go to the bar only just to hang out with Dooley. And even Dooley actually began training a bit because of Zach. Zach's like, oh well, you should come with me. Quitting smoking and drinking will actually help you be strong. And Dooley's becoming decently powerful. So if you guys read the manhwa of Lookism and you're all caught up, actually, Dooley as Hanma looks buff as all hell for no reason. Like, Dooley's body looks a bit different, and I'm enjoying it thoroughly because Dooley actually seems he could be really strong right now. So Dooley makes me decently strong. Not strong as like any of the main cast or anyone that we're impressed with, but the best I could say he may be like. Here's a good comparison. I can say like Jace from what we saw in like probably against the whole Hostile arc. I feel like he's like Jace's level around that. Not Hostile, God Dog arc. It's like God Dog arc, Jace levels of power, and I assume that's a good comparison. The fact that Jay is kind of meh. But yeah, they at the bar. Those guys from Gion High and like again trying to mess with them. But like set up actually like demanded that they just go away. Now one guy set up trying to just intimidate Zach, realizing that Zach is taller than him. And we actually saw how Zach's training actually improved himself in the story. Like, oh yeah, his weight was this. He's like, oh yeah, he's like 180, and then he's like 180 and 5'10". Then after training, 210 pounds and 6'1". Zach's training did wonders for him. So when Zach began intimidating this guy, the guy should step back down, where she's saying, well, let's take the bill now. But the other guy set up saying, no, I'm not like him. I'm not going to bitch out. Almost like just hit him in the liver one time. The guy just fell to his knees, just passing out. Just kind of like coughed so hard he passed out. And eventually, we would basically see the guys drag out their friend, and then they leave apologizing to Zach. Zach ended up smiling, saying, "No worries, just you're glad I wasn't my boss." And then Dooley yells, "Look who's at me! I've given you hell," and she's trying to just laugh. And then yeah, and Dooley could have beaten those guys pretty easily. But yeah, Dooley has like the basic foundation of boxing. Like, he didn't beat them in just like a battle of punches or anything. He's not that strong physically, but footwork and speed do give him wonders. Eventually, Daniel's birthday, he does get like things from Jay, from Zach. He even befriended Vasco, because when Daniel set out with Jiho and befriended him, Vasco thought Daniel was bullying Jiho, but he was like, "Oh no, it's the opposite. He's defending me from bullies. He's really helpful. He's really kind." And Daniel started to have like a whole new life from the one he had in Japan. Because in Japan, he was like a textbook delinquent. Just take away smoking and drinking. He was a textbook delinquent. So Daniel basically just tried to have a new life. He even told Jack, not fuck. He has a brother named Jack, and he has a friend named Zach. I keep messing up the names. But Zach, he heard all about Daniel's life in Japan, and she did tell Daniel he's going to help him flip over a new leaf if he ever reverts back to how he was in Japan. And Daniel just kind of said like he'll do the same thing for Zach. But Daniel and Zach are really close right now, so yeah. Also, Zach also heard about Daniel's dad, and I was chuckled making a joke how Daniel's dad kind of just banged anything for training. Zach, that was all the joke. That says, "No, I have a literal older brother who's a polar bear, and I beat the shit out of it. It's not a joke." And Zach is just amazed by that. So yeah. Daniel's killed a polar bear, but it wasn't that big because it was still growing. But he did lie about it being older than him. Yeah, I don't put it behind Yudra to fuck with literally anything in existence. Like, if this man met Adam or Eve, he'd make both of them their bitch and then restart mankind with those two. Like, he will destroy Adam. Not like the one we see in Ragnarok, but he'd destroy Adam knowing who his father is. But yeah, kind of just a weird thing. But Daniel's aware that Yudra gonna fuck any animal, and then he has multiple siblings that are any animal. We kind of just found it weird. But Daniel's friends with Vasco, Jace, Jiho, Dooley's crew, Zach, Mira. So Zach also told Mira that that sex is good training, and Mira did say that it's not going to get Zach any closer to sleeping with her. So yeah. But move on past Daniel visiting his mother arc. His mother's dead. Oh. Alright, so Daniel will basically end up going and he's going to him and Duke performing at school, but Daniel does invite Duke. Well, not Duke invited him, but Daniel also invited Vasco, Jace, Zach, Dooley's whole crew basically, and now it's kind of formed one whole giant crew out of the Burn Knuckles. Like the Burn Knuckles are shocked that Zach turned over such a good new leaf. Even Dooley is actually a decently better person. He's not bullying people, as Daniel's like, oh yeah, fighting those weaker than you doesn't make you any stronger. It just makes you dumber, or just makes you bigger idiot for thinking that someone weaker than you would be a good challenge. Daniel said, like, even if Jiho fought back against Dooley, Jiho and Dooley would probably be equal. Well, Jiho and him would have been equal. So yeah. Eventually Daniel is still bought by Crystal. Well, actually, I'm saying he wouldn't. Did him actually being good friends with Mira? Well, so Daniel has no interest in Mira. The fact that Zach wants her, and he is like, Zach's aware that Daniel is not that kind of friend. Zach wouldn't even like fear Daniel hitting on Mira at all. But everyone else, he would fear them hitting on Mira. But so Mira ended up buying Daniel, knowing that the girl that wanted to buy Daniel is kind of just scaring him. But everyone's also Daniel's like oddly scared of her. Don't like even say it out loud. If you buy me, I'm gonna kill you in your sleep. Yeah, don't put that behind Daniel in this one. He would kill someone in their sleep mercilessly. Killing is not something he would do. He wouldn't do. I mean, he'd kill someone with no remorse. Girl did. That's why Daniel says because I've heard things that you do. You're not a good person. So when he's bought by but when he's bought by Mira, Crystal actually asked Daniel how he knew what she would do, and he says, "Oh, someone that she's bought before told me." So yeah, he kind of heard that whole thing, and Crystal's like, "Oh, so you're not a bad guy." And she has to learn how Daniel actually operated because of Zach and Dooley. Even Jiho, who's like a nerd, just vouched for Daniel. So Daniel basically ended up, still fights Gun because Gun was like, you called Gun a fighting dog. Gun didn't take kindly to that, and she asked Daniel if he wanted to fight, and Daniel said sure. So he began petting down Daniel's body, not Daniel's body, he began petting down Gun's body. Said, oh, you're buff. And he's thinking about this saying, what martial art would someone with your build use? Thinking really closely saying, Kyokushin, right? Get nodded before smirking, saying, so, you're that experienced, huh? Daniel got into Kyokushin stance, saying, should I go all out or Kyokushin versus Kyokushin? Dustin Gun said, show me your all out, brat. Daniel's all out is every martial art he knows, just put into one form, and this is the same thing as Baki, which is total fighting, which is really just MMA. But you basically use MMA, which is every martial art he knows, put into one, but also just like, well, it's all like the Daniels. That's what he calls it, because not just mixed martial arts, just martial arts all mixed together. But then when the footwork of every martial art he knows, the foundation of every martial art he knows, the defense of every martial art he knows, so every martial art he knows combined into one. Not like random, it's not random at all. MMA isn't random, but so he wouldn't like a few hits from like different martial arts. He would just use all martial arts he knows combined into one stance, one form, everything. He fights Gun with that, and Gun is actually thoroughly impressed by this. Still, some of the attacks are recognizable, and eventually the fight does end with Gun having a broken arm and pretty bruised up body. So yeah. Okay, so Daniel did break Gun's arm and everything, but he didn't make anyone strong in Korea, so he did underestimate Gun a lot, not even going all out still. So he just underestimated Gun thoroughly. So yeah, after this, Gun actually did tell Daniel was really strong, and she threw cash at Daniel, saying there, get your bruises and stuff treated with that. And Smirking holding up 2 broken fingers, saying, I'm gonna need more money than that. I was saying before throwing him out more money, saying, hey kid, in there, on the back of one of those dollar bills is my number. Call me in case you want a better job. I was smirking before picking up the money and walking away, telling like Dooley or something he needs a ride somewhere. And eventually Jay would run up, picking up Daniel, bringing him to the motorcycle, and driving him to the doctors to get splints on his finger or something. Yeah. So yeah, eventually Jay drives him to like the whole doctor. Doctor get like just splints on his fingers. What are they called? So he has a splint onto his fingers. He broke his middle finger and his ring finger. Kind of just like going with like a weird kind of just jab for the eyes. But his middle finger was actually longer, and she was able to like kind of scrape Gun's face, leaving a new scar on Gun. But Gun never got beaten up this bad. Like, not even goo has done this much damage to him in a long time. Alright, so eventually we went to like Duke becoming a streamer, and Duke is in a bit better shape because Andrew does bring them all to the gym, and also he has a decent job. Like when it comes to being a cashier, she does have everyone like get a job. Like so exactly having a job does give him good experience for whenever he wants to live on his own. So Zach has a job, even though it doesn't pay well. I guess it would pay well for an average person, even though for Zach it's not much. So basically, everyone else begins like just getting gets jobs. Dooley and everyone else just goes into like goes into Daniel's convenience store, just working there as well. With so many employees, well, Daniel became the manager. The owner didn't even go there anymore. Just didn't bother. Daniel just reported to him. But there's different people for like different shifts. If Dooley wants to skip school, he'll be the cashier for one day. But yeah. But Duke began streaming, and eventually happened to be Dooley who's on like job for the cashier. So he walked in as she saw Daniel in the back hanging out. He waved to her, and well, everyone else walked in to hang out. They'll pay for their snacks, just hang out around there. And the cashier saw Zoe hanging out with a few of the guys. Mira's there hanging out as well, and the manager just couldn't, not manager. The guy who wanted to kill Zoe is just questioning like who these guys are. But the guy being kind of a weird pervert, I'd assume that he'd probably think of like those adult sites. So yeah. So because of that, well, basically, Daniel would tell the guys kind of off. When he does realize that Vasco's probably working out really late and calls Vasco up as though he's leaving. So like as the guy walked out, Zoe had already left, and he called Vasco immediately. So once he called Vasco, and the guy tried to kill Zoe, Vasco immediately kicked the guy in the face, and the guy hit the ground and just slumped over. And walking out, grabbing the knife, saying, "Oh, I knew it." For actually just putting the knife, like kind of like bending the blade, telling the guy that if he wanted to, he would have killed the man in the store. But he had someone a bit nicer beat him up. Zoe saw this, and Daniel just threw the knife over the fence. He told the guy that if he goes near Zoe or her streams again, he'll kill him. Immediately, he pulled out a wallet, dumping a few bucks on the guy, saying, spend that on someone or something, but avoid streaming. Or I would avoid streaming if I were you. Or before the guy saw the guy got sent flying into a wall. Then the guy's dad would come crawling out the skateboard, asking him to forgive his son. But then she saw the state that the guy was in. Then she began kind of crying that he doesn't know his dad wouldn't go that far for him, but some scumbag of a man would have his parent go this far for him. It pissed him off so much. Daniel immediately picked up his wallet before actually picking up the money, and picking up the man, saying he's bringing him to a hospital. So yeah, Daniel picked up the man before calling Zach. Well, calling Zach out of the store. Jay was also there hanging out. And initially asked them if they know a hospital for this man. And immediately Jay just smiled at seeing how nice Daniel was, but also seeing how pissed off he was. Jay immediately brought Daniel into a hospital for buying the man a VIP room and letting the guy rest there till his body had reached a better condition. The son, on the other hand, was arrested for neglect and elder abuse. So, yeah. But the man did actually forever thank Daniel for this, but did kind of resent him for having his son arrested. But he was happy to see a visitor being Daniel 24/7. And they do kind of ask why Daniel was so nice to the man, but Daniel kind of explained how his dad would never do that for him, despite his dad training him to be the very best. So no matter how much his dad thought of him as no matter how much his dad thought of him as a son, he'd never be this nice to him. So yeah. Eventually we move on to that kid Namsu being scammed out of shoes. But Zach, when it came out to him, actually kind of got the shoes for him as the one that's the boxer of scamming people. The one came to just Zach wanting shoes back. The guy went to punch him. Zach just a dodge, saying, "Oh, you're an outfighter, huh?" Zach knew the fighting as an outfighter and began beating the mess out of the man. By the time he's done, everyone's pull Zach off of him, trying to tell him that's been enough. And eventually, Zach would just say that he wants the shoes before tearing off the guy's feet. Once he pulled the shoe off the guy's feet, he actually told the guy to apologize to Namsu, and the guy did just that. But suddenly, as Zach had turned around, the judo fighter, the lanky guy, and the boxer attacked him. But suddenly, he would end up seeing they kind of see Zach spinning around before kind of doing a very fast knee right to the guy's jaw, the boxer's jaw. And judo fighter, Zach just did a very strong uppercut to the guy's gut. And for the lanky man, he just hit him in the jaw hard enough to break it, and the jaw was shattered. So, yeah. When he's done, they realize that Zach's a whole different league and does know more than boxing. He also seems to be an in-fighter and an out-fighter, which is very confusing. When we go into the whole field trip thing, Daniel says he's not going, which just make everyone question why he's not going. So, maybe that's why he's not going to the whole camp thing. He also said that he's probably just going to head back to Japan or something just for a bit until the trip's over. But suddenly Jane gets smiling for having an idea. Then actually they went to Vin Jin. Now, Jay actually kind of began getting to know Mary Kim, because Mary Kim did ask him about the crew, but Jay doesn't speak, but she still understood him. Now, they actually do ask where Vin grew up, because Mary Kim did mention a nice beach there, and Vin just told them where he grew up. And Mary Kim didn't realize where they were going, and then she said that she's tagging along too, and Vin just said he'll go as well if Mary's going, because Mary's his only friend. So they went to the beach there, which I did the whole beach arc going on a bit faster. And, yeah. So yeah, essentially with this we can just move on to the whole beach thing where MC Pesticide and all the other guys would arrive. But then when they try to fight Vin, they all just appeared in front of them all, just delivering very swift punches to each one of their faces, and then they're also on the ground unconscious. So, they get to hang out, they get to know Vin Jin's friends, and MC Pesticide still goes out and joins the hospital a bit earlier. So that whole R-wordist counselor, well, Dooley was one on the trip, actually, and Dooley beat him up. Yeah, despite Dooley not being that strong, his footwork was actually very impressive, and knew the footwork of Muay Thai, because they don't teach him the basis of it's this. He calls it the Daniel boxing, or the Daniel style boxing. The way I'd say it, probably just Daniel style boxing, because the Daniel style, Daniel style boxing, Daniel style Muay Thai. It's very different each time. So yeah, Daniel kind of just ended up doing teaching Dooley that, and Dooley knew the basis of Muay Thai, and was able to tire out the guy, or actually just know the weaknesses. So he tired out the guy, and then delivered him one good punch, and then knocked him out. So he won. So good for Dooley. So Dooley saved Zoe, who was going to be the one about to be R-worded. Never again, Daniel had to visit his mother's grave till he bumped into someone being Logan Lee. And Logan was first to fight with Daniel, but Daniel recognized Jiu-Jitsu immediately and stopped Logan easily. Actually, kind of making sure that Logan couldn't grab him by outspeeding him. But eventually Logan did grab him, but only to get headbutted right in the solar plexus and throw up. So yeah, he got Daniel in like a hold till eventually like headbutted him in the solar plexus, making him throw up, just cough and throw up. So yeah. So with this, we can just go on to probably just eventually Vin Jin would get to know Daniel, and so Daniel basically ended up well, he still gets the dog, which honestly goes the same way. Just Crystal doesn't hate him because she does really see a nice guy. Because like even Jiho, who's bullied, does vouch for Daniel. He's a good person. Like Zach, who's formerly a bully, now a decent person, vouches for him. Vasco's a seemingly innocent guy, vouches for him. Jace vouches for him. The whole Bernicle crew vouches for him. Everyone vouches for him. So yeah. So everyone kind of just vouched for Daniel. He's a good person. Even Crystal was shocked by this. So yeah, we can move on to probably just Daniel then becoming a model, which goes the exact same way. He becomes a model for the more, yes, poor guy because he preferred his attitude. But he's also not a fan of spoiled people. He's still become that non-sexual escort kind of person, and that arc. You guys watch the first part that I uploaded, but then deleted because I didn't like it. He basically everything happened the same way. It's just he did a little PB train with all of them, and he didn't care about how ugly some of them seemed. So, yep, he did PB training with a lot of them, an unholy amount of them. So, yeah, he also did just get a lot of money and a rice cooker because he didn't want to buy a rice cooker, so got money from them and a rice cooker. From each of them, he promised Tom to do it with each of them if they got him money and one of them got him a rice cooker. Instead, he ended up with like 8 different rice cookers and then like 8 million, a total of 8 million won. How much money is 8 million won? Yeah, they each roughly gave him they gave him 1 million won each. By the end of it, he had roughly about $7,000. But yeah. Then we go on to Gia, who did get scammed. Gia was trying to fight Jake Kim. He didn't do too well, but still, Jake was pretty impressed with how someone who looked so weak and nerdy was decently impressive. He had the footwork down, but that's really it. Then eventually Vasco would end up confronting Jake. Vasco had a few scars from Daniel's training, but still, these scars were pretty impressive. The training camp has them all go out in the woods and then fight animals. So, yeah. But Vasco used Muay Thai against Jake and Daniel. Daniel knows a lot of breakdance techniques, a lot of them. So Vasco did actually learn a few of them, and yeah. Vasco does know a few techniques. He fought against Jake, and Jake actually ended up leaving with a few bruises and around 4 broken fingers. But it's shocking how strong this nobody was. Like, he didn't know who he was, and Jake actually bothered remembering his name, which is Vasco. Or, his nickname is Vasco, his name is Yunte, but, yeah. Vasco still lost, but Jake actually was pretty impressed, fought Gun, and Gun saw Vasco on the ground. But Gun says, huh, looks like that brat's students are getting stronger by the day, huh? Now, Jake is actually told about Daniel and how Daniel is the one that broke Gun's arm. Now Daniel's actually, Gun's like just telling Jake that Daniel knew a number of martial arts that could he could probably kill Jake in a few minutes at the most. So, yeah, Daniel could beat basically all the crew heads easily, but he didn't master a lot of his martial arts that he was using, so it was harder for him to win. But yeah. And Sports Day, which honestly isn't any different, just Vin isn't bullying Duke. So, yeah. Vin is honestly too scared to bully Duke. The fact that he has Vasco, Zach, well, he has the whole Bernicle crew. Zach, basically, so Daniel's crew is basically just Dooley's crew, plus Zach and Mira. But no, Bernicle crew is kind of backing him as well. Well, Vasco's backing Daniel too, which kind of puts him above everyone as like the Bernicle captain. Like, he's garnered respect from everyone in J High. So basically, it's the whole respect of everyone in J High, just not Vin Jin, because he has Mary Kim on his side at least, so that works. But yeah. Then Duke still gets selected for PTJ, which honestly doesn't go any different. But when it came to Class A trying to haze Daniel, he took it the fact that he didn't want to cause trouble, but he was scared they could scare them off with just his intimidation tactics, which honestly wasn't anything besides his height and muscle. Alright, so PTJ, Daniel does scare off Class A by accident, which is his muscle mass and accidental intimidating aura. They go away telling him just be more careful about what he does. Now Daniel and Duke have to learn how to sing and dance. But by the way, Duke's face, I guess, appearance is a bit better. But still, he's, I guess, still a little less appealing. But in kind of learning singing and dance, Daniel already knew how to do this because Yujiro had him do a lot of things to strengthen his body to its peak. Like when he was like 6 years old, he couldn't learn martial arts too well, but he learned ballet, and that strengthened his body a lot. He learned gymnastics, ballet, just dancing itself, just strengthening his legs mainly. Then he just went to the gym, training his arms and everything. So when it came to that, well, he already knew how to dance decently, so he nailed the audition. They told him what to do. They came to singing, he's pretty decent at that, and Duke nailed it too. Because Dan actually does encourage his friends to just do your best at it and master it, and that came to Duke rapping and singing. But Dan also taught Duke a bit of dancing already, just to strengthen his legs to do footwork. So Duke was kind of, I guess, already good at dancing and did it in 2 weeks, at the 1 month that they needed. But Duke still gets face blocked, even though he did it really well. When it came to the script, Daniel did that pretty easily. Honestly, because, well, he's bullied people and know how they act. He didn't bully anyone, he just sees it happen, doesn't do anything about it, but honestly, people who do that, I don't think of them as any better. So, yeah. So eventually, Duke slowly leave his keys there, called Daniel. Daniel arrived, helped Duke in. Then Daniel went to the bathroom and Ari's bodyguard began bullying Duke. Especially like pierced Duke's ear. And then Daniel walked out and just told the guy to get off Duke. The guy didn't know how big Daniel was up close. He hasn't seen Daniel up close at all. Well, now that Daniel's up close, you can see basically every vivid scar. What left the scar? He didn't see the muscles. Like everything that Daniel was like not up close, but from far away, he could actually see in detail now. So Daniel basically ended up just slamming his fist into the bodyguard's face. Went to the bodyguard to like try to say no or anything. He was like, nah. He's just a fist. It's right to the face and his teeth. Like, if you guys know how Yujiro hit Yanagi, imagine that, but in Lookism universe, which is going to be a lot uglier because of just how just hits land. So we just see the bodyguard just having his face demolished by that punch. So yeah. So eventually with this, Daniel did become famous at school, but the bodyguard never messed with Daniel again because he's in the hospital. So, yeah. But Aru, she did walk around PTJ at one point, wanting to find out the guy who beat up her bodyguard. So Daniel just sitting down eating with Duke, and immediately she asked Daniel if he's the one that hit her bodyguard in the face. Even her boyfriend was there with a few thugs by his side, but he told her if she didn't go the hell away, he'd murder her in front of everyone. Or I mean, like, her boyfriend stood up saying, "Oh yeah, what do you do about these thugs then?" And he put his hand in the boyfriend's mouth, where like swinging it out, and blood splattered against the walls. And Daniel basically just tore his cheek out, just straight up, just tore it off. And the boyfriend fell to the ground screaming in pain. And he looked at Aru, calling her a bitch, and he looked at Oliver too. Told Oliver and Lasso to leave, but he'll make sure he doesn't hurt Aru. He just says as they walk away, turn around, everyone would leave the hallways, and Aru ended up having to watch her bodyguard and boyfriend be brutalized by Daniel over and over again. But eventually they call the cops, and the events Daniel's name, he says, "Oh, Daniel Hanma." See what the government says about that. Immediately says, "Guys, his name is Daniel Hanma." Immediately the cops hang up, and the bodyguard asks why. Then Daniel says, "My dad scares every government. They're terrified of war." He had a terrifying smile on his face as the bodyguard gets kicked right in the ribs so hard that everyone heard them break. So everyone comes back out, seeing the thugs all beaten up and bloodied. And Daniel kind of just grabbed but the boyfriend's phone, and then just kind of like with 2 fingers, snapped it in half cleanly. Then just threw it to the ground. He looked at the phone, saying, And stopping on it over and over again before actually turning it in to just the store, and they repair it, or not repair it, they replace it. They get the phone to Duke saying, yours now. Duke immediately crying, and yeah. But Daniel did leave PTJ, and Ari got him kicked out because Chairman Choi bought it. Not Chairman Choi. DG bought it, but heard what Daniel did to the bodyguards. Also, the last name Hanma is very impressive. The fact that Baki, Jack, and Yujiro are still notable. But they haven't been as active in terrifying governments since like the early 2000s, like 2005 or something. So 2005, Baki would have been 15. They haven't really been terrifying since around 5 years ago, so around like 2009 ish. That's when like the most terrifying. But Yujiro's kind of old now, just relaxes, but still just kick people's asses. Jack isn't really too known as he mainly participates in underground fights, and Baki is a decent guy, raising his kids and hanging out with his girlfriend. Yeah. But Hanmas, if they wanted to, they can wage war in the world and then they'd win. So, yeah. But Daniel's last name has enough power to scare off the cops and the government. But yeah, Daniel ended up leaving PTJ, and then Duke stays there, even gets promoted to Class A. Also, we need to update on Duke and PTJ to the fact that he went from Class C to Class B, but we don't know how he's doing Class B. We need to know immediately. But yeah, so Daniel does get a stalker, but don't he realize he had a stalker? Remember that scene where lightning flashed while he's asleep, and then the stalker was above him? That scene where lightning flashed, the stalker looked down, seeing Daniel was gone, and stared up, seeing Daniel standing over her, and just face into her face as hard as possible. And we fast forward to the next scene where Daniel's burying something. We don't know what he's burying, but we don't need to know. So yeah, I do feel bad for the lady, but honestly, in his defense, it was deserved. So yeah. So it was a deserved beating, but I do feel bad for her backstory. Eventually going to Logan, transferring to J High, and when he arrived, he fought basically everyone he could. Well, fought everyone he could, but actually did include Jace mainly. Who's the head of this crew, because I hear they're really strong. Well, Jessica was around, but it was Jace was around, and Jace fought Logan. It ended in basically just a draw, but Daniel. He ended up passing out due to just lack of stamina, and yeah. But Logan's covered in blood and bruises, saying, the leader's really powerful, but I'm stronger still. But immediately when the guys walk by, saying, not the leader, just the vice president. And immediately Logan says, that second in command. They ended up just panting on the ground before saying, Vasco's working out. Before officially passing out. But he kept asking for the school, so he even met Vin, and Vin was actually able to beat Logan because Vin picked up training again. But not as often. He still trains, but not as often as he does currently in canon. In canon, he's throwing trees out of the ground and everything. But this one, he's more or less just pushing rocks and then lifting them up and lifting them back down. But we just see, we just end up seeing, just Logan fight Vin. Vin beats him, but Vin's pretty tired out. Logan will actually ask who the strongest in the school is, and if it's Vin. Vin says, honestly, I'm admitting this, but I'm far from it. As Vin has fought Daniel with his glasses off and lost horribly. He got one-tapped. He used judo, Korean wrestling, kudo. That's the only thing that Daniel didn't know was kudo, and he copied it from Vin immediately. If his dad isn't around to stop him, why should you care? So he copied kudo and then beat Vin using the martial arts that Vin knows best, and he's mastered them. So Vin just loses awfully. Vin had the worst loss he's ever felt, and he has to admit that Daniel is stronger than him. Even Zack is. Because Vin fought Daniel's glasses off, fought Zack's glasses off, and yeah, the Zack fight was a bit longer by a minute, but he still didn't land a single hit in. He was able to take hits from Zack, not Daniel. But Vin ended up listing off names, saying Vasco, saying Vasco, leader of Burn Knuckles, Zack Lee, the fashion department, and Daniel Hanma of fashion department. And I guess their weird silent guy, Jay. He might be strong. I don't know, but all I'm telling you right now, come near me again, I'll make sure you die. And Vin's a bit more serious with the fact that he doesn't like Logan at all, but also is mentioning the fact he lost. And he's very pissed off. He's taking it a lot more seriously. So eventually with this, we eventually see Logan get back up after an hour. Well, not get back up, but we see him recover after an hour. And he walked in the fashion department seeing Jay. I asked where Jay was, and Jay raised his hand. Logan wanted to fight, but Jay's like, no, not saying this. Like, wave his hands, no. Logan's one of them. Everyone thought he'd be knocked out, only for Jay to just hit him in the throat swiftly and kick him in the nuts, and then kick him into a wall. Logan got back up, just like holding his groin, only to get kicked in there again by Jay. Like, Jay just delivered kick after kick after kick after kick after kick to his groin. And this is honestly what Daniel told him to do if you're not interested in fighting. Just deliver a kick to whatever the most sensitive spot you can see is. And it doesn't matter if you're blocking it, just keep kicking it or punching it over and over again with your overwhelming strength, and they'll give up eventually. And suddenly Logan's on the ground just throwing up, and just as he submits. He ended up nodding before writing on the desk and tilting the desk down, saying, "Sorry, I wanted to end it fast because I have homework to do." Before tilting the desk back up and erasing what he wrote. Eventually, Logan came back at the end of the day. You're seeing Daniel and Zach packing up. Vasco's in the hallway waiting for them, and she asks, Logan asks Vasco who he is, and Vasco's like, "Oh, I'm Vasco." Logan went for a punch at full speed, only to get blocked from Vasco. Vasco threw him into a wall, and then Logan, like 4 hours later, just with the building locked up, but he kicked the door open and left. So, yeah, but he stayed home for a month, just straight working out and dieting. When he comes back, just a bit skinnier, but still having a bit of muscle on him, but not as strong as he could have been. His diet, he took it. He went on more like a. He didn't eat as often, which did make him, very thin. So yeah, but yep. So Logan came back now, even after Zoe, just wanting to fight Daniel and Zach now. First he fought Vin, still lost, even lost a bit easier even. Fought Jay, lost again. Fought Vasco, lost again. Fought Jace, lost again. But I want to see how strong Daniel and Zach are. He's recovered from all his beatings. They were going easy on him, so yeah. But they went easy on him just because he looks a bit thinner, so they went easy. Kind of just throwing him around until he just ran out of energy. But Jace just said that's just kicking him in the face, hardly passed out. But it's Vasco on his own, he picked him up and then just held him in the air by his neck, and then he just choked him out. So yeah. Then eventually he does fight Zach, only for Zach just nail him after, like punch after punch after punch. Just right to the stomach. But Zach doesn't know he's holding back. Even Logan can feel like Zach's holding back most of his power, and Logan is still about to pass out from each punch. One punch knocks him out, one punch wakes him up, one punch knocks him out, just rotating. By the time he's done, the last punch will come up, and Logan just sat down, just throwing up, which is over and over again. Jay honestly didn't fight him, just walked away saying, "You win." I'm not saying it, but just waving Logan off. And listen, Logan yelled, "You forfeit then, I win." So he has one win over Jay, who just wasn't interested in fighting someone who's weaker. But then eventually he does fight Daniel, and Daniel just saw Logan saying, "Oh, yeah, that fatty I beat up in the alley one time, right?" We got mad before attacking Daniel. Only she could just get kicked right in the ribs, full force, and have them all break. Not all break, but she wasn't in full force, and she kicked them in the ribs hard enough to break like 2 of them, and Logan hit the ground unconscious. So yeah, he came back not long after, just fully healed and then fat again, but even fatter. It's a school field trip, which goes the exact same way as in canon, but Jay, when he lost his stuff, Daniel helped him find it all. Vasco threw up on that guy, and that guy made Vasco pay $10,000 for it by accident. Like, he's like, "Oh, it's $10,000," mocking Vasco, and Vasco paid $10,000 for it. Even though it was worth like 80 at the most. But yeah. But eventually one day, Daniel meeting Johan. He's running with his dog. But Daniel's actually just running, like, he gets like Inu on his back because he doesn't trust anyone around Inu. Also, when it came to the puppies, he kind of gave them out to like, oh, he gave one to Zach, saying Zach can give it to Mira as a gift. Give one to Vasco, knowing Vasco likes dogs. Jace is kind of the main one helping him take care of it. Give one to Jay, just get Jay over his fear of dogs. Then we'll just give one to Duke, because Duke does something to make him happy besides his grandma and his grandma's food. So Duke is just getting it. But yeah. But Johan was shocked at how fast Daniel was running. But when she asked Daniel how he's running so fast, and then he was like, "Oh, I'm jogging." Yes, he just wanted to see how fast he could be while running, until Daniel came to a complete stop. Then suddenly he disappeared, and was basically almost like half a mile ahead of Johan immediately. And George watched Daniel run miles around him in just like he ran like, let me check this real quick. Daniel ran a mile around Johan in just 2 minutes flat. He ran a mile around Johan, They just kept just doing more and more miles at full speed. So he stopped at 10 miles. Ford just asking Johan if he can keep up with that, and Johan just said no. But Johan did ask Daniel's name, and Johan was like, "Oh, I'm Daniel Hanma." And immediately Johan did realize that this is a guy that beat Gun, because once he told Jake, remember the Big Deal war around, and then Big Deal spread it around too by accident, and then Johan heard of this. But Johan did want to fight Daniel, but wasn't ready yet. He knew this. He knew he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready for this. Like, he just knew it deep down. He didn't fight Daniel, but they went back to see Johan's dog, Eden, who was just kind of just tied up to the tree. They saw the collar cut off, and Daniel saw how mad Johan was. They ended up smirking after Johan's like, "What's so funny?" They ended up sniffing the collar, saying, "He doesn't nose like a dog. Give him a few minutes." Suddenly, they began running around the city, keeping in mind the scent of Inu. Not Inu, I mean, of Eden. And Inu even began helping him. So he found the gate, and Johan was to punch out. The old man confronted them, but Daniel just says, "No worries, the government's too clever to do anything to me." Suddenly, Daniel kick the gate full force, and the gate is just destroyed. I got to the one's apartment, they knock on the door. But the one's like, I have the cops on my side. But I'm just looking at Johan saying, "Watch me lie real quick." And it's like, "Well, my dad sent me here because he's the chief of police." Wyden saying, I was Wyden, she was yelled, saying, "No, I don't care. These are my pets. You can't take them from me." But then asked Johan, should I let the door crush her? Or should I gently let her live? Johan says, "I don't care. Just do it." And then we slap down the door, crushing the woman, not killing her, but her bones are crushed completely. She's flattened. Pets all run out of everyone's body, and Eden runs into the arms of Johan. And with this arc being done in just 10 minutes, well, all the pets are freed, and a lot of them are taken back. So, yeah. Now, this arc ends, but Johan does reveal who he is as the God Dog teacher. Not teacher, the God Dog leader. But Daniel didn't care, saying, "Who the fuck are the God Dogs?" So confused. And Johan's like, "So you beat up Gun not knowing who the God Dogs are?" Daniel says, "Yes, why should I care?" Johan actually broke down the formation of Cruz, and I was like, "Oh, well, I still don't care. Just bye." And we walked away holding Inu. So he's looking at Inu saying, what a weird guy, right?" So yeah, he doesn't care about Inu at all. Vasco met Brekdak, and Vasco revealed who his teacher is. And Brekdak's like, "Oh, well, he can teach you better than I could, but I can give you more in-depth teachings for my techniques." And, well, Vasco already revealed to know at least two of the deadly techniques. So yeah. So Brekdak helped him train a bit more. We go on to Gio getting scammed still. But some Daniel's pushed out the window by Gio. Gio thinks like Daniel is just Gio just thinks Daniel's just using him because he give him good credit on school, and some people say it's about to. When Gio pushed James and Daniel out the window, Daniel did hit the ground and just landed on the ground, but he made sure that James still lived through the fall. But Daniel got up holding his head as he was bleeding excessively, and the sign before saying, "Gio Park, I'm gonna kill you." We went back in the building, full speed ahead, right towards before Gio was on. But Gio didn't see Daniel get up, just looked way too nervous. He was to open the door, just get out. He's punched right in the face by Daniel, and sent flying into the wall, almost out the window. But he's caught, and then Daniel was holding up the window by his hair, saying, "Now what should I do to you, Gio?" Gio kind of got nervous, before actually just saying, "Please don't drop me." But Daniel threw him in the wall, before saying security cameras here are rolling, so I wouldn't drop you. But you deserve a lot worse than just beating I'm giving you. Well, he walked out the window, saying, "And looking at that, I made sure that James lived." So yeah. So Gio eventually does get arrested because the cameras were rolling. In Canada, they were broken, but I didn't want to have Daniel kill Gio, so I made sure to have an excuse that he didn't kill him. Because he doesn't want to get arrested, but yeah. It was the hospital where he meets the old man that he saved. Not saved, but the old man that Jay put in the hospital earlier. Not Jay beat him up, like, remember the guy from the Ark that was like Zoe had a stalker, the guy that tried to kill Zoe, his dad, the guy's in the hospital right now. Daniel doesn't see him, he's in a lot better care. But he just says Daniel how he got hurt, and he says, "Oh, let's push at a 4-story building." But man's amazed that Daniel's this durable. But when Daniel was actually changing, he didn't really care to cover himself, and the old man saw how much scars Daniel's body was covered in. Yes, Daniel don't know what he does for a living. Daniel's like, "Oh, well, I'm a convenience store clerk, but I used to do street fighting for money." He told the old man how strong he was, and the old man was thoroughly impressed with how strong Daniel was. So, yeah. Then we went to the God Dog crew, picking a fight with Jay High, and first fight is Vin Jin versus Ivan Park. Ivan Park. Vin's just playing games and just trying to chuckling a bit. As he picked up like he's training to his full like extent now. He barely even attends school, but attends enough to the point where he isn't expelled. But he looks at Ivan as Ivan tries to fight him. Ivan will just grab Vin from behind, only she just get bitch slapped through a wall. As Vin's like, leave me alone, I'm gaming. And Vin's like, one off day. People are just trying to fuck with me, aren't they? And then grinding his teeth saying, first that bastard Daniel, now Zach, now Vatchigo, that fat bastard Logan, all these nobodies. Before we spin around running at Ivan, saying, alright then, you pissed me off too much. That Vin being beating down Ivan and every single one of his goons with no remorse. And when he's done, he's holding them all by their hair, and Vin says, now you fuckers stop messing with me. Before throwing the guy into a wall and walking away. Vin just yells saying, I'm so mad that I'm going to mountains and train again. And Mary realized that they did piss off Vin to a royal level. Now I go to Logan, who's actually happened to be in the gym working out. And he's still in the animation department, but he wants to be so strong to beat Daniel. Like, he wants to beat Daniel just as much as he could. He wants to beat Daniel into a coma. That's like how mad he is. So he wants to kill him. So yeah, but eventually we do see Logan fight Hope Park, and Logan won a bit easier. Like that, Logan isn't really... He picked up Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but then actually ended up learning Japanese Jiu-Jitsu and won. So, yeah. Now, the God Dogs attacked Vasco's job, and Vasco fought them all, even beating them all. But Johan was all that's left. And now giving him and Johan doesn't just stock right in the face full force and gets it flying back a bit. Then, with this bit of products, deadly techniques, one of them actually was able to have Johan on his knees, painting covered in blood. At this point, Vasco's running on the ground unconscious, just from exhausting all the energy on the God Dogs first. Johan was amazed that this guy was the one who pushed Jake Kim to breaking a few fingers. So yeah. But we move on past this to Zach fights Scott Kwan. And now Zach had me visiting his other coach that actually tells coach to go to this gym called Changui. And his coach was there with Zach till some guy walked in with boxing gloves on, telling Zach he wanted to fight him. They said sure, as Zach did actually tell the guy headgear, saying, "You need that more than me." Scott Kwan ran at Zach full speed, saying, "Oh really? We'll see who needs it more." Only Zach to swing his fist just once, and just before the fist doesn't even connect, but the aura of Zach was going to kill him. It made him pass out just through fear. And the guy hit his knees and just passed out. Coach actually asked Zach where he got that strength from. Zach just said he tried to train with another boxer who went to Changui, and that's where he's been training the whole time, and he became an all kind boxer. And this power that he has is just a little representation of it. But yeah, after that we go on to Eli and Crystal, and Eli beats up those same guys the same way in Canyon. But Johan isn't betrayed by his crew just yet. They would betray him, but he has no energy. They have no energy to get back up after the beating from Vasco. But Daniel, Zach, basically everyone except Eli arrives. The Bronco crew arrived, even if any members got back up, they just get stomped down again. And then Johan tried to get back up just to stomp on Vasco. Zach will actually grab Johan, picking him up by his collar, telling him that Vasco is not allowed to be harmed anymore. Johan and his crew did enough. And Zach's bond to Vasco is better than even Johan and his bond. Like Zach's bond with Jay High is stronger than the one with Johan, which is shocking. Despite Zach still thinking of Johan as a friend. But Zach actually told Johan if Johan wanted to hit Vasco, he had to fight Zach first. Johan pushed Zach away, saying, "Alright then, I'll beat you to death then." As Zach and Johan began fighting, only for Zach to avoid all of Johan's hits, not wanting to hit him once, because he doesn't know that Vasco did a number on him. Presently Gun arrived before kicking Johan at the side, and Johan just passed out from that kick. And Gun says, you lost to a nobody named Tabasco, huh? Vasco then stood up, throwing a punch at Gun, and Gun blocked it, forcing being sent flying back. This is when Vasco says, "I wasn't unconscious, I was resting." I see that we had stretching, and then says, "Also, my name's Vasco, not Tabasco." Before actually rushed at Gun full speed, and him and Gun just began clashing. And Gun was amazed that Vasco was this strong. Like, well, yeah, you were strong, you broke a few Jake's fingers, but this powerful? I'm pretty sure you killed Jake now. Well, Jake's in juvie, so I'll never know. Think about someone smirking first before throwing gun up, and gun just gets a good old right jab just right into his spine from Jake. From Zach. Well, Zach just got sent flying back. Zach gun gets sent flying out of Vasquez's arms. Let's go just gun saw Vasquez as Zach appeared in front of him, and Zach just began beating Gun into the dirt. And Gun wasn't ready for the smoke from Zach. But when the Gun's it was recover and beat, just punch at Zach. Zach did get nailed in the face a lot, but him and Gun still kept fighting. It wasn't a battle between equals, but still, Gun was amazed that Zach was this strong. Like, he was just amazed so that someone can be this powerful. So, but eventually Gun does beat Zach. Actually, does say that Zach could probably beat everyone here except for him and Daniel. So yeah, but Johan had heard that, and hearing that from Gun, especially, Johan does know that that Zach would probably replace him. Immediately, Gun actually asks Zach if he wants to take Johan's place as the God Dog leader. Looking at Johan, looking at the God Dog, saying from how they're looking at him, Johan was the only true God Dog. Which he did kind of just irritate It irritated we see like just Jin Jen get back up, and then just saying that like basically he says that the God Dogs were a crew. Johan was too selfish to see it. Overman just hit him in the face so hard that everyone heard his skull crack. And Jin says, "No, you don't know. Not Jin. Zach basically says, you don't know what he's been through, and he had the right to think he's the only strong one here. He's been surrounded by equals the whole life that he doesn't know what it's like to feel like he's not the only one here. You guys were so weak that he didn't think of you worth. Someone that would allowed him to see the light." And Zach says, half the reason he's this strong right now is because he wants to make Johan see the light and see that he's not alone in this world of the strong. And tells Jin that the God Dogs never existed, that Johan was the only one there. And they were just too weak to see it. But Jin got back up, and with his nose and mouth and eyes even bleeding, he just begins walking away, saying that they need to go now. Pause. Alright, honestly, I paused to reread the boxer for a bit. The ending keeps making me cry, and I love it. Alright, back to this. So basically, Zach kind of told Jin that they left Johan so alone because they didn't allow him to recognize their strength. Jin isn't strong, but still Jin is impressive. All Jin had to do was make Johan recognize that they were worth Johan's time. But they never did that. They only thought as Jin as their leader, not Johan. So it's kind of an equal amount of fault. And Jin had to take time to process that. So, yeah. So Jin had to kind of recognize this. But Gun did actually tell Zach that Zach was probably right about this. And eventually did ask Zach to take over the God Dogs. But still Zach said no. And says that basically he's already with the crew. Gun's asking to name the crew. Esco stepped up with pushing them to the front, saying he's the head of this crew, and our crew has the name Burn Knuckle. They can up with a smirk, saying, "So you're handing the leadership over to me?" Vesco nodded, saying, "Until I can beat you in a fight, you're the head." So yeah. So with this, we can move on to the next arc, and we go on to Jasmine, where she basically would sell stockings, urine, spit, etc. But using the names of Mira, Mary Kim, Zoe, Yui, a lot of them. So yeah, we came to them. Well, when they find Jasmine, they kind of just scare her. Well, no, they kind of try to make her stop, but they eventually all run away. Once she runs away, they try to go find her just because her dad's scared. So once she runs away and her dad just looks for her, they go to find her. And we'll just go on to Zach and Jasmine confronted her. She ran away again. Let's go fought some thugs in a runaway fam. But he eventually did run into Warren and Che. And when him and Warren fight, Warren lost horribly. The thing that Warren will get back up in like 10 minutes. Usually that's Vasco. If Vasco is like the head of Runaway Fam, Vasco when she's like does hear from Sally that Warren is actually a bad guy. Also, they're chasing actually impersonating them. So when Daniel or Logan, when Vasco heard the whole thing, he immediately felt bad for Warren, saying, "Oh, I'm sorry that I didn't hear you out." Or immediately just realized that Sally explained it, so he's like, "Oh, no problem. We thought you were hostile." And eventually they talk about how old hostile was because Vasco wanted to hear about it, just to learn the differences. He picked up a few skills from Daniel, one including a bit of intelligence, basic intelligence that is. And with this, well, they actually mentioned Eli, and listen like Vasco is thinking, saying, Eli Jang? They nod. He says, "Yeah, he goes to my school." Lee Sullivan and Warren's jaw drop, saying, "What do you look like?" Really, Vasco described him, saying, and they all agree, saying things like that. But he says, "Well, he did dye his hair from what you guys described him as." Really brought Vasco to Max and Derek, be like, he kind of escorts them to where to Crystal's kind of friends with them now. They're cool with him, and they're aware that Crystal has a sister. And Crystal has to be on the news as Chairman Choi's daughter. So they go to Chairman Choi wanting to see Crystal, but it's mainly Sally actually. They kind of have Sally going in. Sally's like, "Oh, these are my bodyguards," and well, everyone buys it. So yeah. Crystal's question why Vasco's there and who these two are. Vasco actually asks, does she know where Eli lives? And she asks why, and that's when Vasco spills the truth about Eli's past and who these two are. They basically used to be his family. He ran away because he did them wrong. Or he feels like he did them wrong. Immediately, Crystal did believe Vasco because he's not the type of lie, and did feel bad for Eli and them. She told them where he worked, and eventually they went to the work. They gave them the address to Eli's house, and then Eli wakes up to knock on his door holding Yenna, who woke up from the knock, and he says, "Who the hell woke up Yenna?" I want to see Sally there. He says, "Sal," before he can finish the word, he's punched in the face by Warren. But Warren just says he hit him hard enough to not start the baby, but he hit him hard enough that he'd feel it emotionally. And they went inside and began crying together as a group because, well, they see Yenna, plus they miss each other. Vasco left knowing he's not part of this. So yeah. But we move on to backtrack a bit onto Daniel and Zach versus Justin and Chuck. First we have Smiley and Hilarious who get freed by Daniel. They also still beat up a whole Runaway Fam. Then him and Zach will get directions all the way over to Justin and Chuck, and they are up at the same time. First, Daniel will fight Justin and Chuck himself. He beats them both. They back up, trying to fight Zach to scare Daniel off, threatening him. But they fight Zach, and Zach went harder on them and beat them both into the dirt and unconscious. So he beat them into the dirt and into unconsciousness. So yeah, we went past this now. On to Daniel in school. It's been the next school year. Daniel's now 18, and he actually went to Japan for a bit just to see his family again. But also see his teachers, where he fought Baki again. He didn't beat Baki, but still when he fought Yujiro, well, Yujiro did actually get hit a few times. Actually called Daniel even more impressive than before. And Baki and Yujiro talked after this, mentioning that Daniel's boxing style had increased a lot. Like Daniel's style has many variants, but Daniel's boxing seemed to have the most improvement alongside his Muay Thai and Judo. And his karate also seemed to have some improvement alongside him learning capoeira. So yeah. So with this, well, he did thoroughly impress Yujiro, as Yujiro even has like a broken nose from Daniel's punch. Yeah. So yeah, with this, Logan tries to fight Daniel as Logan training his ass off with Vin Jin actually. But Vin still not school. He basically just dropped out. Basically everyone thinks he dropped out because he barely attends. But in reality, he actually just says he's just spending his time at home, and he actually requests that they send him all the work, and they do just that. So Vin does all the work, but he doesn't go to school. But Mary knows the truth. So yeah, when Daniel and Logan do fight, Logan shows off to be a bit more buff, but still gets knocked out by Daniel pretty easily. And then yeah, Grissom and Zoe do actually are kind of crushing on Daniel, but he can tell this. Also doesn't know how to treat a woman because the 8 ladies he hooked up with at one point, they still contact him, and he goes on dates with them regularly just for people trying to fight after. And then he actually winked at them both, and saying he knows they both like him, and he's willing to date them both. They haven't heard him say that, and immediately Zoe agreed, saying sure, because she wants to date Daniel and he doesn't care about Crystal. Crystal a bit on edge, but then it showed that he'd be honest and well, actually really nice. She agreed to date him, but now he's dating Crystal and Zoe, which is kind of ironic that he has two girlfriends, despite him not knowing anyone likes him as in canon. So yeah. So Daniel did a pee-pee training with Zoe and Crystal. So yeah. So this one in the next arc where Jin Jang would orchestrate a series of events to basically have fights happen. First fight is Daniel versus Zack. When it came to that, Zack already knew not to fight Daniel, and they wait out till Jerry Quan arrived, where Zack would fight Jerry Quan, and Jerry lost horribly. Like, Jerry got his shit kicked in beyond belief. So yeah. But one thing that happened in this 1 year of just a break, not 1 year, but like around like 8 months or so. It's not even 8 months, like 5 at the most. Well, at the gym, they all met Wang Guk. Wang Guk introduced them to Haben. They know Haben. So, yeah. They know the whole good guy crew viral hit, basically. But then, at the gym, well, Warren started coming there just because Vasco recommended Warren to come there to learn martial arts. And then when Warren began coming there, well, eventually Eli came there. And Eli actually ended up learning something from Daniel. Yeah, Eli's already a street fighter, but he learned like professional street fighting from Daniel, where there's no rules, but still, this is a bit of just warning. So yeah, so kind of like just like street fighting, but orderly street fighting. When Eli learned that from Daniel, well, Eli got a lot stronger. Even he already knew Aikido as well because of the gun, but Daniel taught Eli Aikido, Iaido, and Kendo. It actually made Eli that Daniel knew all this and had mastered it. If I just want to know who Daniel learned this all from, you can ask in the comments, and I'll just tell you. They can put a martial art down that I name that he knows, and then I'll tell you who taught him, or you guys can just guess who taught him. But yeah. But so Zack versus it was supposed to be Daniel versus Zack, but they kind of just didn't fight because Zack didn't want to end up in the hospital or dead afterwards, so they waited for Jerry Quan to arrive and they beat Jerry. Well, Zack beat Jerry. And it was Logan versus Jay, but Jay also started training a lot harder with Sophia. As Daniel did actually identify that Jay could do Kali Arnis, but actually recommended that Jay learn Sambo. And Jay did just that. Him and Logan fight, ends in a draw. They both just tied each other out. Now Jay tied out Logan's endurance, and then Logan tied out Jay's endurance, and then Jay ended up tiring out Logan's durability, and Logan is like beyond ability to take hit. Like he can't take any more hits from Jay. Jay's using weapons, but also just technique. So Jay kind of beat Logan's ass. But Jay was the one that hit the ground first, unconscious, just out of all the energy being gone, but then Logan hit the ground right after, just not being able to stand anymore because he's in so much pain. Then with Vasco versus Vin Jin, with Vasco and Vin are kind of fighting just because, well, Vin was dragged in because of Mary. Because Mary said she didn't do it, but Vin says he'll do it. And now Vin and Vasco do fight. This fight, well, Vin actually wins. Vin already began training a bit earlier, and we saw how strong he got from training. Vasco was like doing really good against Vin, but Vin's more beastly style alongside him learning jiu-jitsu from Logan because they trained together the whole time. Not the whole time, but a lot of times. Well, Vin beat Vasco with his additional jiu-jitsu. So yeah. But when it came to them all versus Hostile, when they were all just dragged there. Well, Jerry was one dragged there. Jerry kind of told them directions, but everyone else went there. But Eli and Eli and Warren and Sally were already there, and Sally even picked up a bit of techniques in boxing from Wang Guk. Because Wang Guk taught his sister boxing, and Wang Guk taught Sally boxing. Because he thought it'd be the most simple for her to learn out of all the advanced fighters in the gym, as he's the most average one, despite being still a freak of nature in boxing. He also taught her ways to get hit without getting hurt, like the forehead technique, or to block a hit, use your elbow. So Sally began learning boxing under Wang Guk. Sally began learning boxing under Wang Guk, even having a bit of tips from Gale on fighting. Even though Gale couldn't even lay a finger on anyone in the gym, not even Sally. Sally can probably run away decently, but still. Also, this is a spoiler I'm about to say. So if you guys haven't read as far as I'm about to say, like chapter 394, I believe. Yeah. Warren admitted to liking Sally after all these years again, but Sally didn't know he still liked her. And eventually the whole Hostel B crew just began throwing condoms around the house just to make just to make Warren pissed off at them. And eventually Sally saw them all and then kissed Logan. Fuck, kissed Warren. The N keeps messing me up. She kissed Warren, not Logan. I'd be mad. I'd be mad if she did. But yeah, she kissed Warren. So that's a whole couple now. Back to this. So yeah, we go on to basically just Hostel A being beaten into the dirt, and we see actually just Eli fight against Ollie, and Ollie is shocked at how strong Eli is, and she's asking where he learned to use a baton even though it's a restraint. Eli says the way Gunn taught him Gunn did good, but Daniel does even better. He says turn with Daniel is better than turn with Gunn, as Daniel is like a professional fighting teacher. Well, Gunn, he doesn't teach as well. He shows off his kendo, aikido, and iaido skills that have been better because of just Daniel. Sure, he learned aikido from Gunn, but Daniel helped him master it or get close to mastering it. So yeah, Eli beats Ollie pretty easily and didn't get hit once. But eventually, OG Daniel, not OG Daniel, but Daniel became a stream like OG Daniel, and this stream was honestly just Daniel did admit to being a bully, and actually says he wants to make the channel actually to just teach people how to like defend themselves against amateur fighters, like bullies. But if they knew some form of martial art, they're not that good at it probably because they're using it to their advantage. He teaches them how to avoid some certain martial arts, and yeah, he does get relatively popular. He also does like change his appearance a bit, just like alter his appearance a bit, just so no one knows who he is. Also, his name online is Daniel Park, not Daniel Hanma. So, just so people don't get too scared of him. So actually, he's invited to one MCN, but actually he's heard a few rumors about them. So he goes in there under disguise, and eventually he's kind of just locked up there. They knew he was good at fighting, but they didn't think he was good enough. He's locked up. Daniel eventually is able to sneak out at some point. They don't know how he snuck out. Look under his bed, seeing a hole just carved in there. They wonder how he did that. But then they're how rigid it is, and it couldn't have been done with a knife. There's no knives in there. But then they really see some blood. Daniel was in that room for less than an hour before he escaped. He did this all with one finger and just kind of scratched a giant hole in the floor with one finger. It took him 30 minutes because he wanted to do it quietly. So, yeah. But basically, Daniel would end up just sneaking out and then telling Warren. This is probably like because like Glenn and Hilarious are still in here. So when he actually told Warren, him and Warren are going to go in there, but under cover. Daniel's changing appearance to actually look like Daniel Hanma. Also, he still did fight Gunn. And Gunn still got beaten up, and this time actually Gunn got beaten by Daniel. But Daniel told Gunn, don't tell anyone he lost. He's not interested in Gunn's life at all. From the way that Eli described Gunn, he's not interested in Gunn's life at all, and doesn't interested to be a part of it. But he does actually get the black badge from Gunn. He takes the black badge, uses it, as he made Gunn describe how it works. But yeah. They use it, and that's when Daniel reveals, oh yeah, I'm a VVIP. And Sammy does actually question how Daniel has the badge. And then he says, oh, Gunn. And Sammy's like, oh, so Gunn trusts you enough to give you the badge, right? And this does make Samuel mad, but then Sammy's like, oh no, I beat him up. And as a prize, he gave me this. Meaning Samuel struck someone as strong as Gunn is in his presence right now. Or stronger than Gunn if you beat him. With this, we see Gunn head back to Japan and go to learn Kyokushin just all over again, just to master it beyond belief. He even heads to Brazil a bit just to learn capoeira a bit better. So yeah, eventually Daniel does go into Samuel's office at one point because he's bored and Samuel's gone. But eventually he does see Goo in there, and Goo Daniel's like, "Oh, how are you here?" Does Samuel know you're here? He'll nod to him. Yep. And he looked at Goo saying, "You're that one guy, Goo, right?" Yeah. Gunn talked about you a bit. Says you're annoying. You're a annoying little pest. He says, "That bastard!" He yells, "That bastard! I'll kick his ass for that!" And laughing, saying, "Are you strong as Gunn or stronger?" Goo being Goo just says, "I'm stronger." He says, "That's what I heard." he suddenly punched out, like, grabbed, like, punched his hand through Samuel's desk, and pulled his arm out, revealing a sword-shaped board, just kind of pulled out. Not shaped, well, it was shaped because of Daniel's punch and the way he angled it. He threw it to Gu, saying, "Fight me." Gu made a smirk, saying, "Huh. God told me you and him had a little altercation and it ended in a draw. So let's see how you fare against me." We fast forward 30 minutes with Samuel's office trashed, covered in sword slices, and Gu on the ground with his face all bloody and bruised. Now Daniel is actually kind of there holding his arm, saying, "Holy shit, he's strong," before walking out. Now Gu actually lost his fight. That's the fact that Daniel was a better swordsman, an all-around better swordsman. But he doesn't use a sword, he uses his arm, and that's why it hurts so bad. So, yeah, Gu's good, but not as good as Daniel. Gu knew Kendo. Daniel is a master at Kendo, but also Aikido and Iaido. So, yeah, Gu had no chance. But then he goes to the roof where Samuel would be there. And actually want to fight Daniel for himself. He hasn't heard any rumors of Gun losing, so he believes that Daniel was lying to him. It was Daniel and Samuel fight, only for Samuel to lose horribly. But Daniel ended up picking up Samuel by his collar, saying, "Well, in your office right now is a knocked out Gu. Want to go see what I did to him?" And Samuel kind of just passed out out of just fear. Just like Samuel felt true fear. He was too scared to just fight back. So Samuel kind of just passed out. So then we see Alexander Wang try to drive his car into Daniel. All of you just look at Warren. Warren just jumped in as he had already beaten manager Kim. And Warren straight up just kicks the rim so hard that the tire just popped. Alexander's car spin right around Daniel, and then it slams right into this whole TV thing that's supposed to be a window. So yeah, we have Warren did hurt his foot doing that, but still. After this, we move on to Tom Lee not intervening, but arriving. Once Tom Lee arrived, Tom Lee would basically want to fight Daniel, because we basically heard the conversation between Daniel saying there's a knockout Gu in your office. Plus, he walked in seeing Gu unconscious, and Gu still had a sword in his hand. So Daniel and Chairman Choi, Daniel and Tom Lee fight, and at the end of the fight, Tom Lee was just a bit more brutal than usual, and he ended up losing. Plus, he's kind of tired from Gu, so yeah, so he lost just because he didn't expect someone as strong as. Well, first he didn't expect someone as strong as Gu to be there, and Gu used a sword, so he lost. Not lost, he won, but still. His arm's pretty beaten up. It actually kind of made it hard for him to use one arm. But yeah, so he lost to Tom Lee, but Tom Lee would love to fight with like a ton of new scars, saying that he doesn't want to fight Daniel again if this is like Daniel at his like some of his weakest points. So yeah. So Tom Lee's a little loser to fight Daniel ever again because of how horrible that fight went for him. Like Daniel couldn't use one arm. He was too tired to even go all out using more than one martial art. But still, Tom Lee left the fight with a ton of scars. So, but yeah, we just move on to just the next arc being the third affiliate, Vivi. Now, Daniel ended up meeting Jay's dad as Jay helped Chairman Choi meet Daniel. Not Chairman Choi, helped Chairman Hong meet Daniel. Chairman Hong is Jay's dad, if you guys didn't know that. Yep. So, Daniel and him do still, like, he still refers to Sophia, because Jay mentioned Daniel, that Daniel's like, oh, you're the one that taught Jay Kali Arnis. Well, I know Sambo. And he fought against Sophia using Sambo only. And a bit of Kali Arnis is only copied from Jay. Not a lot of it, but only a few techniques. But he still fought against Sophia. Sophia deemed him, pretty sure her name's Sophia, or Sophia, I forgot, but I'm gonna say Sophia. She's super impressed with Daniel's strength, and he even beat her. But with his not very good Sambo and his meh Kali Arnis, he was still pretty impressive. So yeah. But Daniel had eventually trained Sophia to learn more Sambo and better, he basically just got better at learning, Sambo and Arnis. So, yeah. Now I'm glad TV, Jake came as a bodyguard, and Johan as well, but Johan and Jake recognize him very well. But he's wearing a black badge, and they can't do anything about that. Plus, worst kind of getting out, he beat Gu. So, yeah. Pause. So Jake and Joe and DC Daniel walk in, but Vasco's already in there fighting everyone. It's Vasco still doing his fight with Johan, but Johan and Johan and Jake, no, they can't do a single thing. Well, not unless it's a flashback. I forgot to say that. So Vasco's been there previously beating up everyone, and well, when we see just Zhao Long question why they aren't doing anything, Johan says, "With how strong this guy gets rapidly, I can't beat him." And then they look at just Jake, and Jake's like, "Nope, I already lost to him. Almost lost to him before." But eventually they do jump down there because Zhao Long told him to, and they fight against Vasco combined. And Vasco did beat Johan and beat Jake, but he left the place just covered in blood and bruises, passing out outside. But then look outside, thinking it's just a cashier, and they're like, "Oh, we didn't pay him." So he wasn't a thug. They shouldn't pay their bill. And I mean, Vivi got yelled at because of that. But yeah. We're going to Daniel, so going in there with Vivi, and they question like who he is, but he says, "Oh, well, I'm the son. I'm relatives of Chairman Hong." And like, oh, cool. So yeah, well, Chairman Hong does say with how good he treated Jay, he considers Daniel's second son. So also he beat Sophia and is too scared to disrespect Daniel. So yeah. But his last name is Hanma. Chairman Hong knows who his dad is. He doesn't know that Daniel will probably kill him and boss him around with no remorse. So yeah, he's too scared. So yeah, but Daniel said to actually eat edibles, and he passed out. Almost because he ate like all of them. Blake's in the hotel where like Vivi and her drug friends are. Walked around seeing that girls. He still helped that one random girl that does tic-tac talk now. He went to find her, and Vivi's like, "Well, the game didn't start yet." But he's told her, "Shut up. He's gonna get out of here." But he started walking out. Vivi's guard stepped in the way, saying, "Sorry, sir, but you can't leave." Well, she get punched so hard that everyone heard his ribs just shatter. But this guy that uses the three section staff. Immediately he just held his chest, just coughing up blood, and he hit the ground unconscious. Now, Jet Long had heard the recognizable sounds of bones breaking and walked in nervously, looking around, seeing one of his guards unconscious. He then sees Daniel walking out, and Jet Long swung his like, fuck, what's it called? Yeah, a Guandao. So Jet Long swung his Guandao at Daniel. Only for Daniel to grab the steel with two fingers, then began twisting it. He was twisting it. So he then just swung it, like pulled it into the air, then caught it, and then just swung it around, using the handle to smack Zhao Long right in the jaw with it. So personally, he snapped it in half, then began beating Zhao Long with it just like a baton. Zhao Long just getting the shit beat out of him, even like the state that Jake left him in. Daniel left him in that exact same state. So like the state that Jake left him in, Daniel using like just 3% of his power left him in that same exact state. So Daniel basically beat Zhao Long from consciousness and broke 3 of his limbs. So yeah. So eventually he leaves. He leaves with that tic-tac-tock girl, and everyone has to pull out because they'll have to pull out because of just circumstances. So that's all I can say about it. Just circumstances. They have to leave because of that. All right. So they leave, and eventually Daniel and that one tic-tac-tock girl leaves. They don't head to the club, telling Jake and Joe they need to leave because he beat up the head, and they leave immediately because they're both out of a job now. Now Johan does return to the White Tiger Job Center as Tom Lee would question why he returned so early. He says, "Oh yeah, some pre-treatment of Daniel Hanma was there, and then beat up Zhao Long. So I'm pretty sure they live in Korea." But John's curious about like how Tom Lee does know Daniel, and Tom Lee just decided saying, "Yeah, and I'd regret fighting that brat." And Jim peeped up saying, "Oh yeah, that brat's really strong. Even one of his students beat the crap out of me easily." The other guys up there said, "Yep, us too." They couldn't just meet Joe and Sai saying, "So Tom Lee, you beat him, right?" Tom Lee says, "Oh yeah, he had like 2 fights before that, and he fought Gu, so you can probably guess how tired he was." Joe was like, and according to Gu lost. This one just Tom Lee nods saying, "Yeah, but I guarantee you taking the easy on him." So yeah, so Tom Lee is like telling Johan he's too scared to fight Daniel ever again. And Tom Lee's not wrong. He's too scared to fight Daniel once more. Like, even if Tom Lee got stronger, fighting all out Daniel, who wasn't tired at all, it'd be a nightmare for him. Now we go on to the workers calling, basically Eugene calling out from like the burn knuckles in Hostel B. Also, by the way, Ollie's alive actually. He's just in jail. So yeah, like Eli, let me make sure he didn't kill himself and just turn him into jail, just telling him to rest in here for a bit. He should be rehabilitated. But eventually he's pulled out of jail and not jail, juvie. Then put more or less in a psych ward, or just actually get his mind straight. So yeah, it's really just it, and it's not going to be traumatic. I promise you that. He'll be there. He'll be treated nicely. But he does get a lot of visitors and gifts from like the Burn Knuckle crew and Hostel B. Yeah. Now the workers do call it Burn Knuckles and Hostel B, and actually Ollie had actually recently been on a break, and he's with them right now. And with this, well, basically, we see them all there, and they kind of called them out in like Gun's name because they all know Gun very well. Well, Daniel was hard to reach out to the fact that he had to use Goo's name, or not Goo, Tom Lee's name, because Daniel hasn't beaten Tom Lee yet. They came there saying, "Oh, you're not Tom Lee." Boreon he's like twisting the paper with his knuckles. But suddenly the guy with the cat covering his eyes would attack Daniel and go like an all-out kick. Daniel just tilted his head to the side saying, "Sorry, not interested," before he's punching the guy in the liver real quick. Guy at the ground holding his liver, holding his side, just coughing. Eugene says, "Oh, you're that strong to avoid his kick, huh?" Says, "Damn it, did you call me out? Did you call me out here knowing I lost to Tom Lee?" And Eugene nodded, saying, "Yep, you lost. Pretty badly, right?" Tom Lee walked in saying, "Actually, Eugene, well, I was told that you'd probably do this, by a good old friend by the name of Samuel." He looked at Samuel saying, "Did you really tell on me, Samuel?" And says, "Sorry, but you need to know the whole truth about Daniel versus Tom Lee." And he says, "Yeah, that brat almost killed me." And Eugene says, "Wait, what?" And Tom Lee says, "Well, you thought that guy could beat Gun and Goo combined? This brat took them both down individually. Plus, when he beat Goo, he walked right in and fought me 10 minutes later." Eugene realizes that the only reason Tom won was that Daniel got in a fight with Goo, and Goo was probably using a sword. And that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I ended up having scars from that fight with Goo. And he says, "So tell me, you're using Aikido against him, weren't you?" He says, "Aikido? Yeah, I don't Kendo. Yeah." Tom says, "Let me guess. It's all you use against him." And nodded saying, "Yep, and that's why I was so tired." They went all out against him. Well, Goo would probably be 6 feet under. And I'd be in jail. Probably. Maybe. Who knows? And immediately, Tom Lee says, "So, well, do you want to rematch here now? Or are you going to take it out on the workers?" Immediately, he says, "Rematch. Now." He understands, kind of nervous, but said, "Well, lucky that I've been training, brat." So he went at Daniel full speed, only to get flicked right in the forehead, full force. And he ends up stumbling back a bit, holding his face, holding his forehead, saying, "God damn it." Please punch right in the jaw, so hard that everyone heard his teeth just fall out of his mouth. So Tom Lee shoots barrage over and over again, just knees, kicks, slaps, body slams. Then Daniel's done with double Tom Lee. Now let's stand up before actually looking at Samuel and just Johan, asking Johan if Johan is on their side. Or not saying, "Yep," or if he's on Tom Lee's side, but whatever Tom wants, he'll get. So then the guy with the white cap would dash at Daniel full speed. Only for Daniel to just turn around at him and then just yell "Ippon Ken," which is kind of like just the knuckle, like using your knuckle and punch someone, like kind of like that thing. He does that just right to his nose and knocks him out. But Johan does just say he's on their side until Tom says otherwise. But then we see Mandayak rush at Daniel full speed, alongside the whole Big Doe crew who joined the side of the workers, just to find Sinu. But Daniel couldn't help but smirk before actually saying that this fight is going to be very brutal for them all. I think it was honestly just kind of going like having like, I guess the way to describe it is roid rage. Just that he was called out here in like Tom Lee's name, but then Tom Lee was so weak if he went all out. So Daniel has the whole endorphin release thing that Baki can do, but he does it by control. He then beats on everyone in his path until he finds Mandayak, and Mandayak just gets the whole like, he gets just a bite just right to the hand, and has a chunk of his hand, not a chunk of it, like a chunk of his arm bitten out. Made him jump back as he's bleeding everywhere, only just for Daniel just pop off out of just his muscles. And now for the first time he'd awaken his demon back. This is the first time his demon back awakened. Just out of sheer rage. Suddenly he would basically end up just yelling mock series before using punches that are faster than sound, nailing Mandiuk over his body and knocking him unconscious. Suddenly he looked at Eugene saying, "Do you know my name? My full name?" Eugene says, "Daniel Hanma, right?" And he's actually nervous. Usually he's calm, cool, and collected. No, he's scared. Daniel says, "Yeah, Daniel Hanma." Before the demon back kicked in, Eugene realized why the name Hanma sounded so familiar. Hanma is the name of Hanma Yujiro, Hanma Yuichiro, Hanma Baki, Hanma Jack. These men are feared by government because they're so strong that they don't care about laws. And Daniel is probably no different. No matter how much money he's offered, he'll probably kill Eugene and run away with it. Doesn't matter. Eugene actually asked Daniel, would he like to become a VVIP of workers? Only don't you get body thumped in the ground, and then Daniel yells, "I'm already VVIP, you idiot!" And Eugene just there unconscious. Woke up before looking at Jake and Jerry, and then everyone else. Also, Max and Derek beat Jason and Brad because they train a bit more, and Warren beat Jerry Quan, and then we see Vasco versus Jake, or Vasco beat him again. So yeah. But basically, he ended up leaving for saying the workers one by one. As Eugene just wakes up like not long after, only see no one's chest from Daniel saying none of this ever happened. Got it? He's nervous to deny it, but he agrees. And fast forward a bit to the second affiliate arc. And second affiliate arc, well, Daniel wanted to take them down himself alongside a few others. So eventually we have Warren, who eventually just pretends to be just tired, needs beaten up and kidnapped. Then sort of the same people there, but not original body Daniel. Daniel would be there too, but with a bit of help from Gaia, he disguised himself. So he looks a lot like canonical Daniel, like original body Daniel, just kind of unintimidating. But he did have like average amount of muscle mass. I guess not average, but he did have a lot of muscle mass still. But they couldn't tell how strong he was. So eventually the first game would be the circus, where they have to do rock, paper, scissors. And that when it came to just them all winning. So they all won. But eventually these random guys who want to take Sally and do things to her. Sally immediately jumped up before nailing one of them in their jaw full force. And it was enough to make him dizzy. It did not come out, but true, they were dizzy. Poor Sally just began doing a bunch of punches right to the guy's face over and over again. When she's done, the guy hits the ground unconscious. Sally was smirking before saying, "You think you can beat me like that? You're so weak." The other guys were at Sally, only for Warren to get up and then tell him, "Back off." And then they step back out of just Warren's presence, scaring them, and then he'd be sent into the dirt, so, yeah. Or into the concrete, that's what they have. Yeah. But Warren scared them off, and then eventually they came back not long after, like 10 minutes later with like shivs. But Daniel, Warren, Vin, Zach, and Sally, they all beat them up. But eventually the levels go up with Zach going up to B+, Vin going up to regular B, Warren going up to A+, they don't going up to run to C-. He's around there. So I'm starting over the word "go" so much. Yeah. The second game is called Questism, where everyone just has these like a random quest. Zach had a brick old man in his nose, and he did that pretty easily. Then had just to defend his glasses for 2 minutes, and he did that pretty easily. Daniel kicked that one guy in his nuts, but when he did it to that guy, he screamed in pain and fell to his knees, passed out. So they put Daniel's rank up from like a C- all the way up to like an S, and that's just how it went. So yeah, Paul. All right, so so Daniel's rank is put at an S for kicking like a nut sword that he passed out. The Sally had to bonk that same guy while he was unconscious, and she did that pretty easily. And the guy didn't get back up, so he was basically sent out, and just because he was knocked out. Tom Lee did arrive, just the fact that he wanted to watch Daniel, because he can find Daniel only assuming he's at the circus. He just assumed that, so here I've seen him in disguise. But with how he fought Daniel up close twice, he could see who it was pretty easily. So, but But with this, we can go on to just the final game being Catch Sino. Well, first we go on to Kenta, who was there. Kenta did actually recognize Daniel, because, well, a few years ago, Daniel actually did look very similar to this. He didn't have as many scars, and seeing his face that's kind of messy now, and not trying to change his identity to be different, well, or to just renew himself. Kenta immediately being nervous, but walking back, yelling at Noman saying, it's that guy from like 3 years ago. And then immediately he called off the game saying, Sinu, come out here. He jumped out, but didn't know him, so he recognized him saying, oh, you're those guys from Japan. And then he jumped towards Kenta at full speed, and kicked him right in the chest so hard that he almost caved it in, but it just knocked him out. Well, that he fought Noman until Sinu got there. So as he beat Noman, he beat Hyoko too. He beat basically everyone in his path until everyone just saw who it was, or everyone who knew who Daniel was saw it. Now Zach could basically just guess, but he didn't guess that Daniel looked this different. But Sinu arrived fighting Daniel, then only to lose. Then Jake walked out when Sinu had lost, and then immediately just said, "Well, about time you beat him," and just brought Sinu out unconscious. But Sinu, while also wasn't on any medicine, saw Jake very clearly, and didn't have to fight him at all. So Sinu was okay. Eventually, all hell breaks loose when Eugene already can guess who did it. So, yeah. Eugene realized the workers were going to be disbanded, as the hostel was already under the rule of Burn Knuckle, and Burn Knuckles weren't allied with Chairman Choi. And then God Dog was already disbanded and formed in the K House, which isn't notable at all. So, yeah. Well, there's one arc I intentionally skipped over. I'm gonna go over it once this arc ends, because it just did end. Because Daniel beat everyone in there to death, basically. Not to death, but beat up everyone pretty easily. But we do see K House trying to fight a different gang, being Ansan Republic, and Ansan beat them all up pretty easily. Once Ansan beat them up, well, they look into K House just to find out about I'm guys curious about Jiho. Jiho isn't let out, so yeah, this is one thing I'm mentioning. He isn't let out at all. Jiho is never let out. He's still in juvie. But back to Daniel. Or to Ansan really. Ansan finds out about Daniel wanting to fight him or just recruit him if he's strong. And eventually, when it does come down to finding Daniel, they fight him and they lose pretty horribly, like all of them do. Channing, Jackie, Hudson, they lose. Pause. So Ansan probably were destroyed by Daniel himself because they thought they could take him. We go on to Tae-Soo, who fights Daniel and just to avenge Hudson, and he loses horribly too. And actually, you go to confirm that Daniel's stronger than James Lee, so it was kind of terrifying. But now it's left to Chairman Choi and Chairman Hong. Agreed to help Daniel take down Chairman Hong. We have Vasco, Zach, all of them team up to basically just drop Chairman Choi's whole industry and everything. And this is easily ending this what if. Chairman Choi is taken down, and Tom Lee is already lost. Chairman Choi eventually just stops being Chairman Choi. And Crystal and Zoe are still dating Daniel. Well, at least Zoe is. Crystal kind of broke up with him because they moved. But yeah. Now we move on to the future, where Daniel's roughly around 26. And he has a few kids that aren't human, regardless. Daniel has a whole crew back in Korea that kind of teamed up to drop down Baki, because Daniel, when he's 23, already beat Yujiro. And now 26, he beat Baki. So yeah, now Daniel's not as strong as Hanma. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed, like and subscribe for more. Adios.